Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for your patience. Sorry for that slight delay. We are having a guest today that's presenting the cell with augmented reality. We've got our partner that is from SolidWorks. Let me scroll down. Okay, yeah, so here's our brief agenda. So as I said, we're going to focus on the SolidWorks cell solution to enable CPQ and product configuration online. This is our agenda. We're going to do some quick introductions, and we're going to get into the presentation. We're going to get this done in about 45 minutes, so it's not going to take too much of your day. So let's skate into the introduction. So with us, as I said, is Angela Smith. She's the Global Strategic Manager for SolidWorks Cell. Hey, Angela, do you want to give us a 30-second introduction?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I may have met some of you in the past with SolidWorks Visualize. Been working on Cell, used to be called Make. We've been working on Cell for the past few years, and it's a really exciting product. We're glad to introduce it to you today and be given the opportunity with Javelin, and excited to show you about the product configurator it is at its core, but it's so much more, and especially the AR we're really excited about.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I'm John Mignardi. I'm the account manager for the CPQ and automation team. We've been working very closely with Angela for the past almost a year now, and we absolutely love the product and love what it's done for some of our customers. We, as I said, are going to focus on the aspect of creating websites that will enable CPQ and product configuration, and also explain how augmented reality is part of the solution. So can I swing over to you, Angela, to take the presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. If you could make me presenter, and I will share my screen.
There you go.
Okay, perfect. Can you see my screen, everybody?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, perfect. Let me minimize this over here, scooch it. So again, I'll be talking about SolidWorks Cell. Hopefully not bore you with too many slides, but I'm going to show you a quick clip video at the very beginning of what we're doing, and you'll see this if you go to any of our rollout events with Javelin and any sort of SolidWorks core events. We're working with a company called Omax, and we'll be showing what we've done and having it embedded into their website. And most exciting is having that AR view so that anyone purchasing their machines can see it live in their environment and get a better understanding of the design and scale. Our companies are also using Cell internally to have quick design reviews and to use AR within those design review meetings to understand the new design, understand scale as well, and then sending off that private browser view to their manufacturer's dealer. So it's pretty exciting. So let's kind of jump right into it. Again, it is a cloud-based configuration solution, and our tagline for it has been designed to profit, because we really want to, hopefully you've been designing great products with SolidWorks CAD, and we want to help you sell those products a lot faster with SolidWorks Cell. Either if you're selling those ideas and designs internally, as well as to your dealers, your customers, and beyond. So let's kind of jump right in here. Want you to watch this quick video of Omax. What we did is we took their file types. We are showing it embedded into their website already. And with that, we can go through, what body, what doors. You can have it automatically zoom into those sections, however you want it to be formatted. Something like this, from taking their product, using the plugin from SolidWorks into Cell, takes under an hour. It takes just minutes or seconds to upload from SolidWorks into Cell, and then you can start doing all the fun stuff. If any of you have tried to do any sort of configurations from scratch, it's really frustrating, can be really expensive and time consuming. And this is a showcasing how we then get it to AR. It automatically is created in AR. You don't have to take a file type and create it yourself. You have an AR option automatically created with just a button that you add to the interface. So this is an example of how we then take that machine, and we were showing it in a real production environment. So even before something has been made, even before you invested dime in prototyping or construction or manufacturing, you can get an understanding of what that product looks like. You can get feedback from your dealers and customers if they like the design. And if you're building something custom for a customer, you can show them this browser-based view, see if it matches up to their expectations, and then they can also click the AR button and view it live in their environment. So really exciting. And
Yeah, I'd
again,
like to highlight. Yeah, sorry,
yeah, go
Angela. I
ahead, John.
really like to highlight that point because we are working with a customer that one of the key things about this is the ability to use the SolidWorks models to start selling their product before they even make one, right?
Right.
So rather
Yeah,
than waiting weeks and months to build prototypes and putting them all together and then taking pictures and doing whatever else, with this solution, you could within minutes have this in this environment, and with a couple of clicks of a button, you could see what that product looks in the customer's environment. So it's
absolutely.
really powerful.
Yeah, and when I was talking before about, this is a product configurator at its core, but so much more, it's because, so we have that plugin from SolidWorks into Cell. In seconds, you can upload all of your different options and, different builds of a product, but you don't have to pre-configure and you don't have to pre-render all those options. But, in under an hour, you can either share a private browser link with your internal teams or throw that private browser link on an iPad for your sales team to take to a trade show or to be live in front of a customer. So again, these can be designs, as John mentioned, before you've even made that product. So you don't even have to worry about product photography, and you don't have to worry even about the millions of different renderings you might need to do ahead of time. Engineering teams, the bottleneck is becoming more and more. Um, as a lot of you say, creating pretty pictures, right? A lot of times you're bogged down from the sales and marketing team requests. This is a great tool to just hand off to them. You upload the product. They can easily use Cell for their needs without being hardware restricted. And they also don't need a SolidWorks license working in the background. So this is a great kind of like relay tool to say, hey, I'm going to give my sales and marketing teams a license to Cell, and they can do kind of all the production that they need for the web as well as for their sales teams.
Hey,
But you
Angela,
have
can
all
you run
these,
that? Yeah, yes, sir. Can you
go
run
ahead.
that again? Yeah, I just want to add one more thing.
Sure.
These days, if you're going to IKEA, or yeah, you can hit the video, run the video. If
Yep.
you go to IKEA or Wayfair, you have tons and tons of people that want to know how this chair or how a desk or how an office chair is going to look inside of the user's environment. And this is a great way to use a phone or a tablet and configure it and see physically what it looks like in that environment. So, and in a highly rendered view, it looks, like you said, better than the product itself.
Absolutely. And it's not just a change in materials and colors, and it's not just for consumer goods. It is fuel tank companies, it's capital machinery. Anyone that makes a product, it's the old adage of see it to believe it. Well, that starts with your internal teams. They want to have an understanding of what that product's going to look like, what the scale is going to be before an internal, designer, director, or manager will sign off on it to move to production. And this way, yeah, you can share those designs early on and you get the thumbs up from a customer, maybe one of your major distributors or dealers, and then you go, okay, we feel confident that we're going to move forward to manufacturing this design. So it's really powerful. And also, just a couple of different changes in the design or configuration of a product, just a couple of different color or material changes can all of a sudden be millions of different iterations, right? That's where our calculus actually comes into play, maybe, or
Mm.
our math that we learned in school. And so if you're trying to build that all on your own, one, if you're trying to take photos of all that, you need to wait till all of those options are made. And really, you want to do a lot of pre-sales and pre-marketing. You want to have all of your sales and marketing happening in parallel with your prototyping and manufacturing. That is what cuts down on the time to market and the cost to market, right? You don't wait until it's built and then you start your marketing from there. That's really going to extend your time to market as well as being able to make a profit off production.
Yeah,
So,
the other thing I would add is that you're leveraging your CAD data, all that data that you're generating during the design process. You're using that to create drawings, flat patterns, bills of materials. Here, you're using it to sell your product. It's a graphical aid
right.
to sell
Yeah,
your product. And if anyone's been on Amazon or yeah, Amazon, and you want to see what a shoe looks like, well, you just see a picture of a shoe. Whereas with this application, you could spin it around and get a real good look at what this product looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, all those millions of different iterations, you don't have to pre-configure, you don't have to pre-render all those options. But you automatically, from your data, you don't have to start from scratch. You don't have to have your sales and marketing teams using a different software and starting from scratch, which it will usually come back to engineers, and it's going to cause trouble downline if they have someone doing the configuration files, but then they need to send you the configuration for manufacturing. You want to all be working from the same source of truth, right? So that if you make any changes to the design, you can very easily import those changes, upload those new changes and designs, and still have those same systems to be used moving forward. So let's kind of dive into a little bit about the product itself, right? So what we've been showing you are how to easily have all these different options, to quickly go through those different options, but also to have a live interactive experience. Both internal teams, customers today, you want to start blending the real and the online. So I want to click on, still pictures are no longer enough. I want to see a product, and I don't just want to download a PDF of, oh, these are all of our options. I want to see them live. I want to move it around. If you've ever had any kids or really anyone these days, any screen they touch and expect to be able to move something around, or they expect it to be a touch screen. They expect an immersive experience, and consumers and internal customers today are no different. They really want to see all those different options, all those different design options, the color, material options. I don't just want to download a PDF or see different swatches of what it could look like. I want to see them live. I want to see it now. And I also want to click AR, and I want to see it in front of me so I can kind of virtually kick the tires. And we do all of that in Cell. Also, producing those images, right, for marketing. We have a lot of teams using this internally, basically as kind of a render farm. So you can get these high quality photoreal images on demand as needed. So your internal teams be kicking them off. You can upload your SolidWorks data and give your teams access to Cell, and your marketing teams can be kicking off high-end renderings of all the different options, whether to find out which ones they'll move forward with your customer base, or to producing different images that they're going to put on their website. But you can certainly have these photoreal rendering images on demand for your customers as they're configuring all their different options. So really powerful. You don't have to pre-render, you don't have to pre-configure. You upload your data using the plugin from SolidWorks into Cell, and you have all these options out of the box.
Yeah, we
So
worked
again,
with a customer, sorry to interrupt. We
no, go
worked with
ahead.
a customer that needed to produce 1 million renderings, and that took months. That
Yep.
was unfortunately a couple of years ago before this came along, but
Yeah.
it just goes to show you that renderings are valuable, and if you can avoid doing all that work and put the experience online and make it immersive, it's a great value.
Yeah, absolutely. And this isn't a product to replace your high-end rendering options like SolidWorks Visualize. It'd be something that you'd want to have in addition to for your product configuration needs, because to have all those different options represented, and you don't have to pre-render also kind of a 360 or what we'd call like a VR file. You have that live interactive, you can be moving the product around, making those changes live. So you don't need to pre-render all those different options and then pre-render a 360. You have all those different options out of the box just within that viewing mode within Cell. So a couple of things, don't want to bore you too much, but these are really important things to cover as far as what the software is. It's cloud-based, meaning that it's a browser-based software. So I log in as a named user from a website. So it's not hardware restricted. I can be kicking off all these renderings, have AR automatically, I can have the 360 views, everything like that from browser-based software, which is great for your sales and marketing teams, especially your marketing. Most of our engineers, they're working from PCs, they're connected into SolidWorks. That is where the problems usually begin, from the CAD design into kind of imagery production. Everyone's working on different machines. Everyone has different file types. If you share those different images with that team, it becomes, oh, I'm going to have to upload it to a large file share. Oh, he can't open it. He doesn't have that software. You don't have any of those problems here. So for access of licenses with different teams, you just log into a website. So it's not hardware restricted. So if you're on a PC or a Mac, or any sort of device. I did a project the other day from a tablet, which is unheard of years ago, even a couple of years ago. So I was kicking off different renderings. I had a browser-based view AR, and I set up the whole project from a tablet, which was exciting. So again, the software itself is browser-based. You'll log in as a named user. And cloud-based, meaning that you don't have to have a front-end investment. You don't have to invest in servers. You don't have to have a heavy investment for servers to manage all that data. We do that for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Also, what's important, when I talk about cloud, some people get excited and some people get a little bit nervous. So it is important to mention that we are using defense and banking level AWS servers, but also using that plugin from SolidWorks into Cell, when you upload it, and if you go into your SolidWorks and it's SolidWorks Cell and you download the plugin, and then you go back into your SolidWorks license and you have that little add-on drop-down menu, you'll see SolidWorks Cell is already there at the bottom. You just check that box and it will appear as a button, just as Visualize or MBD appear, and you'll use that to upload your data. You actually are not uploading your CAD or IP. We convert that with the plugin to a very low-grade mesh data. So your CAD and intellectual property is actually never on the cloud. It's never exposed. We convert that to a low-grade mesh data that you can have represent your product. So your IP is never at risk, which is important. So it is a software as a service. So it's a very low cost entry point. It's billed annually, which also means that you're always on the most current version. And it's beyond just a yearly release. Our pace this last year is we've been releasing maybe 2 different releases per month. So all new features, all new things that we add, you'll get all of that within your year of purchase and continuing from there. So again, it's a software as a service, low cost entry point, no heavy investment on the front end. I'm just going to be focusing on customize and augmented reality, but also you can bump up from there to our digital catalog and embed directly into any website. You can also bump up from there and with our API connect into any shopping cart, which is exciting. It's also designed for millions of concurrent users. So there's other configurators on the market where, oh, you can only have this many people on at once because it needs to be one-to-one with your CAD licenses. You don't have any of those problems. One, to have access to SolidWorks Cell, you don't need to have a SolidWorks license. And then also to have the configurator live on a website or the browser, you're never restricted by the amount of people. We don't restrict the amount of products you can upload. We don't restrict the amount of renderings or different configurations. All of that is unlimited, as well as the amount of users. So let's say you have a private browser view or you have it embedded on your website, something goes viral, you have a cool video about your company, and 1 million different people go to your website at once. It's a good problem to have. And our product will scale to those amount of users that want to be interacting with it, so you don't have to worry about SolidWorks Cell kind of crashing. So it's great for your marketing and digital web teams, great to release that engineering bottleneck, hand off your designs, and then have those teams use those CAD designs that you have for their needs, for their web marketing and their imagery needs, as well as for your sales team. There's a lot of back and forth. The sales are like, oh, engineering team, can you take this CAD and make these different configurations, what the customer is looking for in this quoting process? You do all of that for them, you hand it off. It's a game of telephone. They come back to you and say, okay, they'd like to ABC, but you need to make these changes. We want to get engineers back to engineering, and we want to release that bottleneck, and this product does just that. You also need very low IT involvement. So again, you don't need to have any servers or set up all the data. There's no big front-end implementation at all. From logging into SolidWorks Cell, from first use to uploading to having something like this in a private browser view, under an hour. Very short learning curve. We have about 30 tutorials embedded within the software itself, holds your hand from A to Z, but then we also help provide training with our partners when you get started as well. Any questions, John?
No, that's all good. I mean,
Okay.
I think the idea of very minimal IT involvement, and if we've got CAD designers, SolidWorks users in the audience, just the idea of eliminating the task of creating a different configuration that looks like, whatever color, whatever size, and the idea that the sales and marketing folks can work independently, use their models without affecting their models is pretty huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do hold on to, you can upload and have the measurement data. So it is powerful to have high-end renderings on demand. You can have 360 interactive. You can click on a ruler and see all the different measurement data automatically. You don't need to put in that sort of data, so customers can understand what the measurements are, as well as having that immersive AR to understand when you can virtually kind of walk around it. We even had someone do a half design of a plane, and they were designing the interior. I'm sure all of us do this, right? Everyone's all custom designing their own jets, but they were showing the interior of a plane, and they had the full AR experience just out of cell doing that. So it was really powerful. So a couple of other things, very similar to SolidWorks Visualize, we are CAD agnostic or CAD neutral. So I think everyone on this call is using SolidWorks, but sometimes there's legacy data or data from a partner or data from another team that might not be SolidWorks. We support multi-CAD import. So it's a much easier, cleaner process with SolidWorks because of our plugin, where you can bring kind of multiple options. But if you need to bring in data from non-SolidWorks, you can do that as well. And you can bring that in as a kind of a generic sort of data format, and we'll help you do that. So you can bring that in directly without a plugin. We have that dynamic rendering where you're spinning it around. Most of our customers are fine just with a dynamic rendering, but also if you want to be kicking off basically photorealistic photographs of a product that hasn't been made yet, or all those different options, you can do that as well. So you have two different rendering options. We also can help you create a dynamic bill of materials in the background. So you can have different SKU and ERP data input, so that as someone's making all these different configurations and playing around and having fun, it's also building up that bill of materials in the background, so that if they send you a request for a quote, or they click on purchase, or they send you kind of a saved configuration, you'll be able to see on the background, we'll have created a bill of materials that you can access from your dashboard as well. It's also a live iframe. So let's say you're using this just to, you're sending it off to your sales team at a trade show, so they can quickly show all the different options to a customer. They can get that feedback. They can show it in AR. Oh, but let's say there's a mistake. Maybe there's a material or a product change. You can do that in the background from the SolidWorks Cell Editor, which is the base of Customize itself. You can make those changes, and it will update that private browser view or that link that you've shared with your team. So if you need to change a price or a color or a design change, you can do that very easily. Update live means that you can also have something like that update live on your website. You don't need to drag in your IT team and then find out that they're not going to be able to make those changes for months. You can do that and have control of that on your own.
Hey, Angela, you said a key word there and just triggered probably something that we should focus on. You mentioned the word trade show, and you and I both know one of our first customers needed this solution for a trade show, and I think within a couple of days we had one or two of their products online, and it just goes to show you that the tool is capable and easily deployable for trade shows. So if you're selling your product, you don't want to bring a big, massive piece of equipment at a hall or anything like that, or you want to say, okay, well, what does this chair look like? Okay, well, let me put it right next to you. You can see what it looks like virtually.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's looking for a new way to present their products, and they're trying to keep up the demand and the expectations from their customers and their internal team. And especially at a trade show, you're not going to be able to drag in every single option and variation of a product, but you can have that live within the configurator. You can have it on screen in your booth. All their sales team wanted it to be on iPads, and we are able to help them get different designs uploaded and ready in less than a week. So, from their purchase to them going to the trade show, I think it was about a week. And that included their training. Very short learning curve. So it's a cool product. It's easy to use, and it's really easy to learn, which is great. There's not a huge learning curve.
Exactly what
And
I
it
would
was
add to
exciting.
that.
Not to tell too much about them, I won't name them, but it was really cool. They were designing interiors of elevators, and so obviously they're not going to drag an elevator to the trade show. The poor person that would have to be on the plane packing that one. But it was really cool. The AR also is pretty immersive. When you are showing something in AR and you're viewing it through your smartphone or tablet, it's going to start using the lighting from the environment that you're in. So it will show as if it's really in the room with you. When I was first previewing it in my home to make sure that everything was cleaned up and ready for them to use, I could see my reflection because in one of the designs it was this really reflective aluminum, and I could see my reflection in it as I was walking around it in my living room virtually. It was reflecting my area rug. I could see my ceiling light. Like, it was really powerful. So the AR is out of the box completely. You don't need to, we're not allowing you to take a file type to then create AR. We just have an AR button that you can pop into your preview, and we do that. And it's available on Android or iOS. So if you've ever paid somebody else to create an AR, of one design for you, it's kind of a one and done. It can be really expensive. This is automatic, really easy to use.
Yeah,
Again,
the only thing I'd add to that is I was at NeoCon recently, biggest furniture show in the land, and all these folks were touching different things and looking at different things, and it's for that industry, it's very visual and very graphic, and to know, for example, what a lamp or a desk or a chair looks like in an environment is very important.
yeah, absolutely. And it's important that it's not just consumer goods level products and designs. Capital equipment has really been big with this, and really any design, even like component design, because let's say it's a piece of plumbing or a component of a larger product that your customers would be purchasing it for. A recent customer is using that because they then take that design of that plumbing component, and their customers use AR to kind of virtually place it and understand the scale of if it's going to be a great connection point. Or if they're doing parts replacement, we now can hit the aftermarket and parts replacement needs of our customers. And so using AR, they click up a component, see all the different configurations of it, and then they use AR to say, okay, this is what it will look like in our bigger design. So it's pretty exciting. Really quickly too, in addition to product configuration, having the photorealistic rendering and the AR, we also have analytics. So within your dashboard, you can also, if you share a private browser view, even before it's embedded on a website, you can gather the analytics. So if you share that with dealers or a customer at a trade show, you can see what products they were choosing, where they're accessing that link from in the world, what products they're clicking on, what preferences they have, so you can kind of data mine those choices to make better designs in the future. So pretty powerful, fun to use, but there's a lot going on under the hood to really empower your teams as well. So again, augmented reality right now is so important, and we really want to make it easier for our customers to access that level of technology without heavy investment, without having to use a separate software to then form that. And if you aren't thinking about augmented reality for your needs, you should, because consumers definitely, I mean, even my mom, even my mom has the expectation of, oh, I would like to see that. If she even goes to a store, she can kind of virtually see those different products if she's shopping online. So more and more consumers have that level of expectation, whether it's for your end consumer, your dealers, or even for production, having an AR view of a product. So you have a new design, you want to make sure that you don't get back lousy prototypes, and that extends your time to market. You can send that private browser link and showing all those different configurations to your manufacturer. You can have your manufacturer see an augmented reality view of the product to have better manufacturing, cut down on the amount of prototypes that you need. Really powerful.
Yeah, you know what? I wish my wife was more a user of this type of technology, because she'll buy something, we'll get it shipped, or got to bring it, pick it up, assemble it, put it together. Doesn't like it, it's got to go back. So
Yep. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wish
Absolutely.
I
Yeah.
wish
I had
more people had that.
a couch purchasing. It went on forever because it was trying to understand, how is that going to look with the wall color? How is the scale going to look with that coffee table? And I really wish that that furniture company that shall remain anonymous would have had AR functionality, because, a lot of consumers, we have become kind of like that spoiled girl on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I want it now. I want it immediately my way. I want to see it, and I want to see it in my environment, right? And a lot of us are doing our own research, and we only wait until the very end until we get all the information that we need before we want the company to reach out to us. Or a lot of us are doing our research online, and then we just go into the store and purchase it, right? So I want to feel confident about the choices that I've made, and then either they ship it to me, or then that's the last when I go into the store and make my final decision. But I want that immersive, I want all the information that I need from viewing it and being able to use AR to view it in my environment. So
Yeah, the
again,
other
cloud
stat.
solution,
Yeah, the other
software as a
stat.
service, millions
Oops.
of millions of different people they can access. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was just going to say the other stat you could add there is that 85% of shoppers will go online first before
Yep.
they go talk to anybody or call anybody. So it's critical to be online.
Yeah, absolutely. So in summary, really want you to understand that you don't need to then take a file and then create AR. You automatically get AR with SolidWorks Cell. It will give you an AR view of your product automatically. Plus, you have all the different product configuration needs that you can address with your internal teams and with your customers. So you don't have to pre-render all those different options. You don't have to have all that product photography, and you don't need to pre-configure all those different options. It's kind of like you get to upload the product and then you can have them pick and choose from whatever amount of choices you want the customers to choose from. But you can also limit that. If you want them to only pick from these different designs, these different colors, materials, you also can limit those decisions if you want them to. Again, we have the two different kinds of rendering. In addition to bill of materials, you can also export as an STL file. So if you have any sort of 3D printing needs, you can show all those different configurations and they can export as an STL file. Again, the live iframes, you can make all those changes on the fly. And then of course, the multi-CAD options as well. We're also helping you address having all those different images that your marketing team might need. As you can see, you can have like a 360 view, you can have those pre-cooked views, as well as once you embed it onto a website or when you're setting it up within that preview, it's configurable for you as well. So you can use different icons, you can use a different layout. It's all up to you, but we also have really pre-cooked out of the box previews that you can use as well. So it's kind of unlimited to how you would want it designed. But we want to keep that open because we want it to fit the design and aesthetic of your brand, however you want to present it to your internal teams or to your customers. We have some product design companies using this as well because they needed the feedback. Let's say they're doing the designs for a high-tech company or a medical device company. They wanted to send them that private browser view of some designs they're proposing and get that really quick early feedback from that company saying, hey, go through all these different, hundreds of different material color options, and let's streamline this down really quickly. And let's have you visually see all those different options so we can get that quick buy off, those early design decisions so we can move on to the next stage. So they can have that preview branded to the company they're doing the designs for, so they can do that really personal sort of kind of deck to show that company they're doing the designs for, that they're contracted for all those different design options. And again, still images are no longer enough. I want to see an interactive image. I don't want to see a still image and then maybe have it just Photoshop clipped of all the different colors. I want to interact with it. I want to zoom in and out, and I want to see the product in front of me using AR. And again, it's very easy from SolidWorks. You're going to go down to that little add-on drop-down menu. We're hidden down there at the bottom. You can click on SolidWorks Cell Publisher. And so that button will appear in SolidWorks. And so that, let's say you have a different model and you want to upload that, you can quickly just click that SolidWorks Cell button. And basically it will open up remote access into SolidWorks Cell. So you can actually start setting up your project from within SolidWorks. You can name a new template, you can decide what parts and pieces you want to upload, or if you just want to bring in the whole kit and caboodle, and that will open up into SolidWorks Cell remotely as well. You can start doing all the fun stuff. Again, we have a pretty heavy material library already available, but we also provide training for you, and it's very easy to create your own materials within Cell, within the material library, as well as how you can import in your own specific materials as well. And we support, I think, up to 300 different SolidWorks materials. So if you have materials already designated within SolidWorks, it will recognize those when you import into Cell, and it will auto-populate those, so you don't have to designate any materials. But you can quickly go, as you can kind of see in this example that I recorded, of uploading the product quickly from SolidWorks into Cell, making different material, different design changes, and you can have this quick browser view that looks like a website, or you could quickly take our API code and immediately embed it into a website. So really powerful.
Yeah, the other
This
thing,
again, go ahead,
one
John.
thing that we might not have emphasized is this is part of a CPQ solution, so configure price quote. So although, yeah, you can use it internally to share designs with internal teams or customers, you can also buckle it to ERP systems and give somebody a quote. So if somebody configures a certain uh, configuration of your product, that person can see what the cost is. And as Angela said, you could buckle this to like a Shopify or Magento so that someone could put it into a basket and buy it. So we just want to make sure that you get the point that it's part of a full CPQ solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk a lot about it's a cool tool, it's fun, but this is a painkiller as far as those engineering bottlenecks, as well as reducing the time to market and the visualization and product manufacturing costs. So it's cool and fun, but this really has a high return on investment, and this is something to save you time and money. And we can't emphasize that enough. When I used to be on the other side of just the rendering side of things, once it left engineering, a lot of people didn't understand the whole expensive, time-consuming process that would start from scratch again within the marketing teams, the digital marketing teams, and how they would then take that CAD and 3D and start from scratch to get images for the website, images for a catalog, how it could be time consuming if they wanted to have that be animated or interactive, or gosh, if you added AR onto that, we'd have to, contract out, or we'd have to bring in someone specifically that could create those AR files from scratch. All of that you get within SolidWorks Cell. So this is really something that is going to save a lot of time and money for any company, no matter what you're doing, no matter what kind of product you're making, whether this is just to be used as an internal solution tool or you want to further embed onto your website to be customer or dealer facing. It's really powerful. Also, something that is cutting down on those engineering bottlenecks, we want to help our engineers get back to engineering. They don't want to be producing too many images and to be taking away from kind of the product innovation that you've probably hired them for. So we really want to help them get back to engineering as well. And this is kind of, we were working with a company called Tech Clarity, and they were doing a lot of research in the market. And this kind of just gives you a quick sort of snapshot. Engineers are being pulled away from engineering more and more because consumers and internal teams have more immersive imagery needs, right? So this is a tool that the engineers could use very easily, but more than that, it's also a tool that they can kind of hand off to your sales and marketing team. You don't need to have an engineering background to use the tool. So it's a great cross-functional tool for different teams to access into very easily and use and utilize. Get your engineers back to what they went to school for, what they want to be doing, and less imagery creation. So, we were working with Gartner, Tech Clarity, again, some of the top trends in digital commerce, immersive commerce, personalization engines, as well as visual configuration. You get all of that in SolidWorks Cell. And then it's also from the horse's mouth. We've been working with Chronos Group and a Trio consortium, and it's of all the companies listed below that you see. These are all companies that are trying to address online sort of needs. And as John had mentioned, whether it is Wayfair or IKEA or Target, a lot of times or if it's you showing your own products, you want to show on any platform all sorts of different products and how you can very easily, it's addressing that need of, I need to quickly show my products, all the different options of my products that my customers want to look at, all the different material changes, colors. Even if you don't have material or color changes, I just want to see a product interactive on the screen very easily without a lot of production cost and time that adds on to my engineering or my digital marketing teams, and you can do that very easily. So whether it's you showing your products or maybe one of your dealers that needs to show your product, you can have a quick file type that you can embed into a website that you can share with anyone else. It's not adding into your time to market, it's cutting down on your time to market. So again, we've really just been talking about customize, because within customize itself, you have AR as well, really powerful. It's a great tool to be used internally. You have that private browser view that we host, meaning that you can send a web link to someone saying, hey, open up this configurator. You can have that preview mode. But then you can also, as John mentioned, send that on an iPad or any sort of tablet with your sales team. It's really been powerful for a lot of our customers to use for trade shows, as we mentioned earlier. or if they're going to be meeting with customers live. We had a customer that was looking at this for different awnings for homes, and so they needed it for their sales team when they're out in the field. They show all the different awning designs, all the different colors, materials, and different shapes and options, so they could quickly go with the customer, pick which ones they wanted, and they could walk in the backyard, click it up in AR view, and they could see the awning on the side of the house. So it's really powerful for them. But again, beyond just that, if you also wanted to embed to a website, it becomes digital catalog. Very easy to start with customize and then bump up when you want to embed to a website. Any website we provide API for. And then in the future, if you wanted to connect into a shopping cart, maybe you don't offer any online commerce now, but you want to in the future maybe. Even if you have a dealer or distributor network, let's say there's a couple of top sellers that you want to offer as a direct purchase option in the future, you'll have control over that, and you can very easily with our APIs plug into an e-commerce solution as well. So what we are offering for everyone on this webinar today. So customized standard at its minimum is 6,000 for a team license. You get 5 named user licenses that can access, but for everyone on this webinar, we'll allow them to start with customized starter if needed, where you'll get 1 named user license. And with that, you get everything. You get the high quality photo rendering on demand, you get augmented reality, and you get all the product configurator options that you have within the editor itself. So really powerful. So if you're looking at just kind of dipping a toe in and looking into customize and start using it and building up your assets now, but maybe you only have a need for 1 license, you can do that with our starter. And then from there, you can bump up to standard for your team license needs. So we have different variations with customize. We have our starter option that you can pick from this webinar at 1,500. Our standard is for your teams. So you have access with your engineering team, your digital marketing, your sales teams can be accessing it as well as named users. And again, we have that private browser view. Professional is when you kind of want maybe a hosted link preview. It bumps it up to 10 licenses. And then for enterprise, it's for more of our larger companies that have maybe all sorts of different companies under that umbrella. So they might have, we had a customer that was looking at 100 different licenses because they wanted all of their sales teams to have access in at all different times in the field with their customers. Any questions on pricing at all, John?
No, I just want to clarify that those are US dollars.
Yes, and it will convert to any sort of commerce as well.
Okay.
So again, just to recap, with Customize, you're going to get everything, all the custom configuration, plus you'll still have the online visualization because we host that private browser view. You get augmented reality, you get that photo real rendering. And then if you want to in the future embed to your website, maybe for the quoting needs, as John mentioned before, the CPQ, maybe you don't have online commerce needs, but you want this to be on your website so that your customers can click and pick and make all those different choices. They can see a price that would be reflected from those different choices that they can then click a button to say quote or have someone contact me. You, within your dashboard, will be able to capture that quote of that configuration that they've chosen within your dashboard, and you can use that for kind of a quoting process, and you can have it embedded to your website. If beyond that, instead of just for a quoting process, you want for the customer to click and pick, to choose, and you want them to complete the purchase online, we have APIs that connect into any e-commerce partner. Shopify, Magento, WooCommerce. Again, you can plug into any website and plug into any e-commerce.
Can I add one thing, Angela? So
Absolutely.
you're presenting to people that are based in primarily Ontario, Canada, and
Okay.
the top coffee company in the land is Tim Hortons. So do you want to tell the story of one of our customers who's building these websites and are branding them with the Tim Hortons labels?
Sure. I won't mention the customer,
No,
but
that's fine.
yeah, they are designing different products that Tim Hortons uses within their store design, right? We all use it. When we go to their product, I'll say this, we usually decide, do I need to throw this away? Is this going to be recycling or is this going to compost, right? So they wanted to show all those different designs, but they wanted to show decals and they wanted to show something customized. So they could very easily do that within Customize and Digital Catalog itself. So within Customize, they could quickly show all those different designs, send off the browser link to a customer and say, what do you think of these new designs? So they could send off their CAD design of that product, and they could also have it be branded to that customer that they're pitching to. So whether you're pitching this to your internal teams or you're pitching it to an outside company where you're a design contractor or you're trying to get their business, you can have it personalized and customized and branded all within Customize itself. So they were loving it because they could have it branded to, let's say, Tim Hortons or any other company that they were making a design for. They could have the preview link look like Tim Hortons, and they could also have different decals added for those different companies that they were pitching for. So really powerful. So again, Customize is being used by a sales team in this bottom left. Live with a customer, you could quickly go through all those different options, whether a trade show or live with a customer. You can interact with them. You could get that quote. You could save that. Again, really going to be time to market saving as well as cost savings when you can have those earlier design decisions made, where you can share a link and say, hey, what do you think of all these different design iterations? Let's move forward. Let's scale down from these 10 material options to 5, or these 10 different design options to 5, so we can get to market, start prototyping and manufacturing. Again, if you're pitching your ideas internally or to other customers that you're trying to win their business, you can do all of that within Customize. And then digital catalog is when you can embed it onto your website. Maybe you also want to have kind of a touch screen up in some sort of show space, maybe like a showroom or a retail space. There's less real estate available in retail. People are scaling down smaller. You know, you aren't going to have every sort of option on the retail floor in a showroom space or within a trade show viewing. But you can have, you know, a few different physical representations of the product, but then you can have the full depth and breadth of your product line with an interactive touchscreen viewer with digital catalog. Let's say you can have it up on a screen so that a customer can see it and go, well, what about green? You know, you can go up and see all the different designs, and you can see all the different color material options as well. And then of course, e-commerce is everything beyond that. Is when you can have that digital catalog option, you can have it embedded to website as well as you have it connected into your shopping cart. So that's about it. But what I wanted to end with is, in addition to having a button automatically show up within AR, that you can click on that button and you could view that within AR, you can also have take any sort of link or private browser link, and you can have it converted into a QR code. So if you have anything where you want to show all those different configurations, that's what we did here with the OMAX machine, as well as with Beamy. And so if any of you want to take a quick screenshot of this, you'll notice that when you go to take a picture of any of these QR codes, that it will open up your private browser on your tablet or your smartphone, and it will open up those links to those private browser configurators. And the top left, once this fully opens up, the top left, it looks like a little box. Once that appears on the top left, that's your AR button. When you click that, you'll see object and AR. And then when you click on that bottom right little box that appears, it will open it up and it will try to have you view it in your AR environment. So again, with Customize itself, you have all the product configuration needs that you can address, as well as you have high-end rendering on demand, and we scale up to the amount of traffic that you have. So, it basically gives you render farm capability, as well as you have augmented reality, you have analytics, you have all that within Customize itself. And then you can also save everything up as kind of a QR code. So even if you are at a trade show, or if you want to have a QR code maybe on product description or on your website, or let's say you're making shoes or anything else and you want to have the customer see all the other different options, you can definitely have a link or QR code saved so your customers can view all the other product options as well. Any questions, John?
Yes, we did. Somebody asked, can Cell be set up on site to host data locally?
Yes and no. That would be more of our enterprise option, and I'd love to address that offline with that customer specifically. One, why they would want to have it be hosted locally, what limitations they might be facing, either internally or with their products. And I can I'll get into contact with you after that, John, if you can get their
Okay,
information
I've got the
and what
contact.
that would entail. Yeah, what that would entail. But yes, that's certainly an option with customized enterprise.
Yeah, I think those are all the questions that we had.
Okay. Well, great. Well, thanks so much, John. Again, I appreciate your team giving me the opportunity to present to your customers. And again, please reach out to us if you need anything or have any questions. We're really excited to have more people start using Cell. Again, we'll be at all the rollouts. We're officially on the price list. So we are going to be available, and you'll be hearing about a lot more customers that are using SolidWorks Cell, and we would love to welcome you into the family and into the SolidWorks Cell community. And again, we have that special pricing for everyone that attended the webinar today.
Awesome. Yeah. So what we'll share this data as well, this information, and we'll send out links to this presentation. Our contact details are shown on the screen. So if you want to have a discussion about your particular application, you can connect with Angela by email or by myself by phone. I work very closely with Angela for the customers that connect with us relative to SolidWorks Cell. I know we've shared a lot of information with you, and I think when you take a look at some of the demonstration websites, which we'll send you a link to, they are quite impressive. And as compared to people with static images that you could just kind of zoom in and zoom out, just the ability to spin things around at the same time with a highly rendered, nicely rendered image, plus the notion of planting that product virtually right next to you is pretty compelling. And there's a lot of companies that we've started working with just for that fact, the augmented reality. Really, it's cool, but it is so powerful, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you
Okay.
so much, John.
Okay, well, thank you, Angela. I appreciate your time again, and to all of you folks who have taken time out of your day, we greatly appreciate it, and we look forward to hearing from you very soon.
Awesome. Thanks,
Okay,
everybody. Cheers.
have a great afternoon.